Reading appreciation is a new course. It has been offered for 6 semesters so far. When we first started the course, we were sort of trying to fill the gaps for students because most of our students are engineering students, they are science, they are IT, architecture students, right? And they do not have a lot of exposure to reading, especially reading in a foreign language. And that's why we come up with the idea of the course. And of course, when you talk about the objective of the course, right, as the name suggests, I would like students to appreciate their reading texts. I would like them to develop their critical thinking skills because when, their nature, they are engineering students, right? When they calculate their math questions, for example, they always come up with an answer. But for literature or literary text, there's no one singular or one absolute answer for them to find. And that's the frustration stage, actually. They get really frustrated when they first start. And I have to, tell them that in humanities or in social sciences, sometimes it's really difficult to find one singular or one absolute answer to a question. And that's how life, that's how complicated life is, the text every semester. At first, when I selected the text, I sort of picked the text that I felt comfortable with, so it's the text that I wanted, not what they wanted. And as time passes by, it sort of came in the middle. I compromised with them. I chose the text with them. So half of the text that we use in class would come from me, and then the other half would come from them. So for example, last term I picked J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, and then my students picked The Ender's Game, which is a science fiction. And I believe that is one good thing about talking. So the reason why we pay so much attention to reading courses or reading classes is because, we have offered, our students have to take 3 courses, fundamental English courses, LNG 101, LNG 102, and LNG 103, right? And those courses focus on developing the 4 skills, productive and receptive. But most of the time, they are the courses that respond to the students' needs. So they are science-oriented. Students design technological tools and then explain the process, right? So I believe that what students lack is the ability to make informed decisions about something not so easy. When things are not in process, because life is not that fixed anyway, right? So when we taught that course, we sort of wanted the students to go beyond, or leave their comfort zone, put it this way. When we give them Shakespeare's text to read, for example, they got really, really upset because first of all, they couldn't understand the language, and second of all, because it's like they were reading something that is so far-fetched. But we had to, convince them that actually Shakespeare text is not so far-fetched because it actually reflects your human nature, right? And I think that's something the students lack in the fundamental courses, and we have to help them in the elective courses. Most of the time when I teach the course, I actually want students to have their own voices, right? Because my students would really want to hear what I think about the text. And I would say, not really, it's not important what I think about the text. It's more important what you actually think about the text. And that is somehow quite difficult for them at first. But I think at the end of the day, they enjoy speaking, right? And I believe that, yes, you want to develop that spoken language, right? But again, you need to have a very good sort of input as well before you can produce good output. And that's why I believe literary texts are abundant sources of input. So once they see something substantial, they can produce something substantial as well. They started off not knowing anything at all, but at the end of the course, they came to my office and then wrote a poem. Sometimes they just want to write an English poem for their girlfriends, And I believe, it's a good thing, right? Because they said before they did that, reading appreciation course with me, they would never have imagined writing an English poem. And I believe that at some point you felt rewarded by, their effort of creating, those kind of things. I also have a lot of students who love to read a lot more texts, in their free time. So after the course, we read 10 texts, let's say. But then, some students would come to me and ask for more books. They want me to recommend more books for them. And I believe that is one of the best things that happened in the course.